How to pick your POV character. I'm Karin with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Pegg Thomas, multi-award winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes.
And this week, starting the clock, we're going to talk about how you pick your point of view character. Saw this on Twitter last week, and someone was mentioning he sees a lot about point of view and how to pick a point of view for your book, but how do you pick the right point of view character for your novel? Peg, how do you do it?
I think there's more than one way to do it, actually. There could be several different things that would factor into it. You might have two characters, and either point of view could be good, but you're going to want to pick the point of view character who advances your story the best. And generally, that's by using the point of view character who is the most impacted in that scene, the one who has the most stakes in the scene. There could be times when that's not the right choice. Sometimes the choice might be the person witnessing for some reason. But generally speaking, you're going to want the person who's the most impacted by the scene and moves the story. Always move the story forward. That is so important. If you're not moving the story forward, it isn't working. How about you?
One of the things that I've seen, talking more of on a broad scope, I've seen this a couple of times in manuscripts that I've received in the last few years, where there are 2 or 3 point of view characters, but one of the characters doesn't actually have a story. What they do is they just react to everything they see happening around them. Now, there might be emotions involved because it might be, a woman's husband who's doing something, or maybe it's a doctor and they're reacting to their patients. But that character doesn't actually have a story arc. They're just an observer. When that happens, there are 2 things you can do. One is to give that person a character arc. If they're so entwined in everything else, give them some goals, let them strive for something. But if that character isn't doing anything, then really they're just a glorified narrator. Because they have to have those goals and motivations. They have to be trying to achieve something. They have to change by the end of the book. And if they don't meet all of that criteria, it's not a main character. So you might have to make that difficult decision to cut that character out, which not easy to do. But Peg, we talked a little bit about scene by scene. So when you're writing a scene, I think you and I both write a lot of books with 2 POV characters.
Yes.
How do you decide which character that scene is going to have the perspective in that scene?
Almost always, it's the character who's the most affected by whatever action is happening in the scene. That's pretty much that's my, I don't know, bellwether of how I do it. So I mean, in the book I'm writing right now, I have 2 male point of view characters, and they're looking at the world from very different lenses. So whatever happiness in the scene might be affecting one or the other more in their growth and their journey and what they're doing. That's the one I'm going to show the point of view of, and certainly they're not always together in the scene. So if one of my point of view characters isn't in the scene, it's not his point of view. That one's a real no-brainer, right? But the ones where they're both in the scene, then I definitely want to pick the one who's the most impacted by this. He may not even be the focal of it, but maybe what's happening in the scene is going to affect him more. So then I'm in his inner thoughts. I'm experiencing his feelings, his reactions, all of that, even if he's not the major mover and shaker in the scene, but it is impacting him more than he's my point of view character.
And
And I
that's
gotta
how
tell you, I have written one novella from just one point of view and didn't have the 2 points of view to play off each other. And I don't think I will ever do that again. That was very tough. I like having the 2.
it is hard. But something you said is exactly how I pick the point of view character for a scene, which is whose thoughts do I want to see? Whose emotional reactions do I want to see? So a lot of times, when you're like, if you're writing romance, you have the person who's confessing their love to the other person, but you don't necessarily want to be in that person's point of view because they are saying everything. Instead, you may want to be in the point of view of the person who's hearing it, because then we can see, is that person excited about this? Or maybe they're cringing because they just want to friend zone that person and they don't want to be in a relationship. So, like Peg said, they don't have to be the person that's actually acting, but it's the person who you want to get in their head, because that's what you do with point of view. And we are out of
We're out of
time.
time again. These 5 minutes go by like in 5 minutes.
It's amazing every time. Until next week, I'm Karin Beery.
And I'm Peg Thomas, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.